In this video, after much request, I'm gonna animate a stick fight in 10 seconds, then a minute, and then 10 minutes, then an hour, and finally 10 hours. It's definitely out of my wheelhouse, but I'm just gonna give it my best shot. Now, this truly does terrify me because last time I tried to do a proper stick animation was in Pivot in 2007. I also don't know anything about fighting, but we're gonna get into 10 seconds here, and I think I can do 2 frames. No more, no less. I can definitely do less, but it's not an animation at that point. I'm gonna do a single punch. I think that's about all I can manage. 10 seconds, go. It's kind of winding up a punch. He's getting ready for it, don't need legs. Flies back. Oh my god. No time for legs on that second frame. Does this look like anything? You could see a hit, kind of. Could arguably call that a fight. Well, I'll take it. It's a fight animated in 10 seconds. Now for this, I kind of have the choice between doing the same thing but better, or having them exchange punches but very badly. I don't think I have the time to animate a hit and get the other person to get back up and hit them back. So I'm just gonna do a punch again. Go. Okay, I'm just gonna draw a guy kind of going like this, standing there. There's some tall legs. The other one is just gonna take it, I guess. He's gonna wind back. I don't know if this is gonna look any good at all. And this guy's like, he's just kind of standing there, and he kind of gets blasted back. I'll do a little, oh god. What? I left myself a lot of pressure in the last frame there. Alright, let's see what that looks like. I think it's gonna be pretty bad. Okay, it is pretty bad, but better than 10 seconds. At least more going on. His legs do delete from existence in the last frame. Does it look better on 6 or 12 FPS? It's pretty funny in 12. Yeah, getting punched and looping back to where you started is a fate worse than death. Okay, 10 minutes is a little frightening because I feel like it should probably look decent. There's more pressure for it to look decent. Definitely gonna have each character get in some sort of hit, but I'm gonna do my research before 1 hour and 10 hour, and those will hopefully look pretty good. This one, who knows? 10 minutes starting now. Okay, I'm gonna do an actual environment for this one. A little bit of an environment. I will not waste too much time on it. Okay, that's the background of a black character and a blue character. The 2 standard skin colors. Okay, it's been a minute, I've done nothing. Okay, he's just kind of getting ready to do something. The other one is also standing there, kind of doing the same thing. I'm gonna make the other one red, because I keep forgetting the youngin skin is blue by default. I want blue to throw the first punch. So this guy's gonna be passive. I think I said blue, but I meant black. So I guess he's just gonna wind it up. It looks like, this is gonna look like a slap. Just to redraw this, just gyrating on the spot. Maybe you'll start to move back a little. It's like, maybe I should dodge this. The legs are just very still, which I don't think makes any sense. Maybe do a bit of kind of a smear thing going on. That might work. Oh, the legs are in different, like, Z-axis positions. Makes no sense. Punch is making contact. I do want to have time for him to punch back somehow. He's not going to fly back. He's going to stand on his feet, but get a little knocked aback. He's going to kind of catch himself on the floor. I'll animate the red guy and then do the other one. Slide. He's getting smaller. That's the argument for pose to pose, as opposed to straight ahead animation, but oh well. This could look really terrible, and I probably won't restart. He's also gonna return back to his normal stance. There's a lot more going on in this than like my normal 1 to 10 minute animations. Wait, he's getting huge. Oh no. This is gonna look funny at least. Okay, now he's gonna kind of just run up and kick him. You know what? Put this on its own layer. Oh, I'm really running out of time. He's gonna run up-ish. It's gonna be something resembling a run. I don't have time for anything. He's gonna stay there while the other guy flips backwards. So he splats into the wall, then sinks to the floor. Oh no. Kinda watching this blind. Here it is. Okay. That's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be, but there's a lot wrong with that. At least does look like a punch and a kick. Just one that's very physically inaccurate. He just disappears. Let me just clear that keyframe. I mean, it doesn't help much, but what a freeze frame. The first punch kind of looks like he dodges it by sliding back really fast. That interpretation works. So let's move swiftly on to the 1 hour animation. I set my 1 hour fight between these simple grey walls and floor, and this time I used a solid circle for the head that I would reuse every frame, which I should have done for 10 minutes really, and I'm adding these pink lines as a guide for where the body parts should be. Black is going to punch orange in a familiar fashion, and it looks like orange is just standing there, but that's not quite the case when you see it loop. I'm also drawing in object mode this time. That means every time I make a single brush stroke, it turns that into its own object that I can click and move around as I please. Which is useful if I want to adjust any limbs without having to redraw them or tediously use the lasso tool. So after the impact of the punch, I draw orange flying back, and he's going to land in the corner of the room. Now I'm just drawing some in-betweens, and I'll have black running up to deliver some more knuckle sandwiches, which may or may not go his way. The run cycle kind of highlights how much animation is happening compared to every other video in this series so far. I had a whole video just animating a run cycle, but that's why these are stick figures. Now orange is going to land a good kick and send black flying to the other corner. You don't need many frames for the kick because it's so fast. I'm just drawing black in a few different poses along an arc before he hits the ground. Sometimes I'll just reuse and move the whole stickman because the overall movement is all that matters for certain frames. Now I've got to make orange return to standing and get ready for a jump. Just making the key positions at first and smoothing it out as needed. As orange lands, that's when black gets up and straight into the punch anticipation, which is where the animation loops back to the start. I'm adding the final touches now with in-betweens and a couple of very quick impact effects. So this is my 1 hour fight animation, and I think it's alright. Still pretty simple, but it's leagues above the 10-minute one in every way. The timing and poses are solid, just still fairly basic and short overall. Turns out a good stick fight takes a long time to animate. But let's see what I can do with 10 hours. "10 hours is set in a grey room again, now with windows. But it won't stay there. It's dark blue versus orange this time, and we're starting with orange crashing through the window. It'll all come together when it loops. I'm leaving the glass animation for later, but for now I'm going to have him roll and stand up right next to blue, who you might think is green, but he's definitely more blue. The fight starts with a punch to the face, as per tradition, but the poses are going to be cooler, and it actually sends orange into a backflip. Then he lands kind of like a superhero. The same situation as last time, blue runs up to orange and gets kicked, but it's a different sort of kick from a different position. Now I'm making an impact frame, which I don't think I've ever done before. I gathered that the key elements are high contrast and a bunch of lines coming from the point of impact. I'll do some more of those later, but this was a good test. They have a brief pause, which is something that's been missing, then blue gets up and runs at orange again, who goes for another kick, but it seems like blue learned his lesson. So blue grabs the leg and starts spinning around in circles, winding up to throw orange through the ceiling. Not too many frames needed for the spin, and the trailing lines sell the movement pretty well. So now we're on top of the roof, and there's going to be a red guy standing there. First up was making orange fly up and back down, then I drew the hole and animated some basic dust and rubble. He's drinking a beer, which he'll throw at orange after he gets up. Then I had orange duck and pick up a piece of rubble that he's going to throw back, but it sort of just donks red on the head and pisses him off. Now we have a running flying kick, which will send orange off the building, and I'll have red backflip off of that because it's cool. I also wanted this fun split screen shot of their faces after orange throws the rock, which will transition nicely into the run. The last piece of the puzzle is the shot of Orange crashing into this window, which of course loops back to the start. Now I'm animating a bit of shattered glass. I didn't think about how the glass on the floor would affect things, but he kind of just stands on it like it isn't there, which is fine. All the important stuff is done, and now I'm just adding effects and some more frames here and there to smooth things out. So that's my 10-hour stick fight. I like it. I'm pleased with it. Animation-wise, I don't see anything too wrong with it. There are some parts they could do with refining, but it gets the job done. It's interesting because every other time I've done this, it was a little 5-second loop of something pretty detailed. But now it's 25 seconds with very simple characters and backgrounds, but much more interesting, I would say, animation. There's actually kind of a story there this time. I was planning on doing way more with the backgrounds, but just animating everything took a long time. But yeah, I really like this. The camera movements were a nice touch, I think. There's more I would have liked to do, but it's all good. So 10-second versus 10-hour stick fight animation. That went pretty well. I definitely learned a lot. First 3, pretty bad. 10 hours, pretty good, just a little more simple than I imagined. Well, I'm definitely much better at stick fights than I was at the start of this, so that's cool. Well, thank you all for watching, hope you had a jolly old time, and I will see you next week.